Okay, real quick, I'm going to give 3 reasons why the Democrats do not deserve to occupy the White House. At least not now, in this 2020 election. Number 1, their abuse of power has hurt the country and maybe it's damaged it beyond repair. I don't know. But the articles of impeachment against Trump did not contain any actual crimes. Abuse of power doesn't mean anything. It's vague and unspecific. Plus, it's subjective. What might be abuse of power to one person may not be abuse of power to other one. Or just using power can be defined as being an abuse of power. The American electorate chose Trump to be the head of the executive branch and to have a certain degree of power in order to make change that they wanted, that he was voted into office to do. The founders of the framers of the Constitution created this impeachment proceedings in order to handle a president for committing high crimes and misdemeanors. Trump hasn't committed any crimes, and a telephone call is not official policy. Conversation between 2 friends is just that and nothing more. People can speak off the cuff without any pre-planning. It's just doesn't mean anything, And the fact that hearsay was admissible as one of the reasons to impeach Donald Trump doesn't make any sense, especially in the fact that the phone transcript doesn't support what they purport actually went on between the conversation between Trump and the president of Ukraine. So that's the first reason why the Democrats don't deserve to be in the White House. We have a vote. They can do these little games where they can make impeachment a political theater, but we, the American people, have the power to stand up against that. We're the last line of defense against this absurdity. We have the obligation of saying, this isn't right, this shouldn't happen. That's our responsibility. So that's the first reason why the Democrats shouldn't regain the White House. The second reason is just simply no one should give any respect to crybabies. No one should let crybabies assume power. Life is hard, and we're not always dealt the hand that we want, but if we're going to put on our big boy pants and act like grown-ups, we should work with what we have and make the best of the situation. It doesn't do anyone good to just complain and try to ruin the game for everyone else for 4 years. It's not constructive. It doesn't do anything. It doesn't accomplish anything. And it doesn't bring you any respect if you're just a crybaby. And to put more emphasis on this fact, I want to mention for a moment something called the Pygmalion effect. It's spelled P-Y-G, and it's named after a story in mythology where a sculptor made this beautiful statue, and because of his desire or because of the influence of the gods, the statue became alive. The Pygmalion effect has been demonstrated to be a real thing, where results raise to the level of expectations commonly. So if you expect something good to happen, it increases the likelihood of that good thing happening. If you doubt it happening, or if you subject someone to doubt and criticism, the fact that you're going to have good results is diminished. And this was proven by a government-funded study where these researchers went out to a number of grade schools, and they randomly picked some children after they gave them some aptitude tests, and they told the teachers that those few students had very high achievement potential. And at the end of the school year, they went back and they ran the test again. They found out those kids that they picked were at the top of the list. They scored the highest. And they also had scored the best grades. So just the fact that they would pick up on, subconsciously the students would pick up on little cues where their instructors seemed to believe in them, and they gave them probably subconscious little motivational speeches, or they gave them a little more time and care. That impacted them, and they actually achieved more. In using that example and that effect, one can make a case for whatever failures Donald had as president. It can easily be attributed to, well, he was working with a bunch of assholes that were constantly telling him that he couldn't do what he actually wanted to achieve. So the second reason why the Democrats don't deserve to be in the White House is because basically they're crybabies, and crybabies don't deserve anything. Now, the third reason why the Democrats don't deserve to be in the White House is pure raw evil. Now, that sounds, that sounds like hyperbole, and it sounds like, just I'm just making something up. But they put victory above morality. They made it clear during the Democratic debates that beating Trump, picking a candidate to beat Trump, was more important than picking a qualified candidate. There were a lot of pretty good Democrat options they could choose from that were way better than Joe Biden. But I don't know. They picked Joe Biden because they thought he could beat Trump. It didn't matter to them whether he'd be good president or not. And I can only assume what the reasoning is. Maybe they assumed all the Republicans are, racist, misogynist, so they picked the biggest racist and misogynist among them to go up against Trump. And they would say this mantra that Donald Trump is so dangerous. He's a threat. He's dangerous. If you want people to believe a lie, you just repeat it enough and they'll just accept it. I've actually heard Democrats repeat those same little mantras that their leaders like to make constantly over and over again. It doesn't mean it's true. If you pin them down and try to ask them to explain it, they have a difficult time explaining it because, thinking is difficult. That's why most people judge. But here's my conclusion, or the point I want to drive home in this third reason why Democrats don't deserve to be in the White House, is that the thought process or the idea that victory, or the excuse, let's put it that way, the excuse that victory is more important than morality is the reason and the thought process that Hitler had when he invaded Poland. Think about that for a moment. If we let the Democrats into the White House, I don't know. We've sold our soul. We've actually given the stamp of approval for the same kind of logic and reasoning that Adolf Hitler had for starting World War II. And I don't think we want or should do that. So I just had to tell you. I hope this works. I hope people listen to this. Pass this video around along with the other one. And, I'm writing a book, but I don't think Democrats read books. So I had to make these videos.